What is next for the Mariners of Maine? This team was built upon the foundation of all-out offense, and unfortunately, it hasn't exactly been fruitful through the course of this series, and perhaps that is down to the fact that, yeah, in theory, this team is going to struggle in a lot of different ways, mainly in a defensive standpoint, when we are so focused on offense. We've made the postseason, of course, but there has been no overwhelming success to speak of. And that leads us to this season where strongest team on paper, not quite, but we do still have a pretty damn strong team. This is the lineup to start the season. Might be a little bit controversial in some ways. Mainly, I would say Cato being on the second line over Nazarov, although that is due to chemistry reasons. And of course, the likes of Richie and Samard being in the lineup, trying to emphasize them developing over playing someone like Jovanovski, again, who unfortunately does have to suffer. And of course, we have a pretty damn good fourth line, all things considered. The defense, same thing, emphasizing hopeful development of guys like Long, Stewart, Melnick, and Stamkos. Unfortunately, I do feel justified in saying it's mainly just that those potentials aren't good this year. Medium top four, medium top six forwards, it's just not good. I mean, Harry Stewart has played 6 seasons in the NHL as a medium top four defenseman. He has not cracked an 80 overall. I'm sorry, just those potentials aren't good this year. They're just not. And it would be great to see that changed. I'm not holding my breath. And of course, the goaltending, in theory, one hell of a 1-2 punch. Either one of these two goaltenders, if you were to look at the Stanley Cup winning team and see one of them, you would not be surprised. They are perhaps on a little bit of the short side, but hey, it really, really shouldn't matter. Actually, I just need to take a quick look here and make sure that no one like Lundin is scratched. Pablo Lundin. Can we please get some region-accurate names heading into next year's game? That would be tremendous. I think we're good to go. As far as the forward core is concerned, defensively, no real surprise. It's a nightmare. It's an absolute nightmare. Again, the AHL team is the Glasgow Clan. We recreated them on Twitch for a random series. And yeah, just stuck with them because I didn't know what to make the AHL team in this series. I know they haven't exactly been focused upon, but that is again due to the severe lack of player development. The main thing that I want to check here before we get down to business is whether or not anyone wants to re-sign at the beginning of the season. Let's find out. Right now, there's only one person who's gotten back to me. That's Montgomery. And of course, he doesn't want to re-sign. Nor does Konopka. We'll continue to see how these players respond. But again, we have discussed that issue. And that's what I'm going to call it. It's an issue. We've discussed that issue over and over again because it has affected us throughout the entire series, and unfortunately, it's going to continue to affect us. That's just the way it is. So, at this point, just gonna have to put up with it. It took over 10 seasons worth of simming, but I think I've finally resigned to the fact that it's like, yeah, okay, it's a problem that I can't fix because it's just the way this game's working for me, and we're gonna have to put up with it. We're too far into the series to restart and hope it doesn't happen again. So, a quick look here before we get simming. I hope to make it through the entire season in this episode at our overalls, and I mean, this should be a good year for us. This should be. I mean, then again, if Toronto's terrible, then maybe not, but I mean, we're not a terrible team on paper. That's all I can say. Let's see what happens. Another season ahead of us. What can we do? And what the hell is going to happen if we do make the playoffs? That, of course, is the question. It'd be a decent draft to have a top pick, apparently, at least for players that are eligible for us. Especially Ross Sagan, although, God, I wish it was Seguin. I still love that clip of a commentator calling a young Plymouth Whalers star Tyler Seguin. What a clip. So, overall, not off to the hottest start in the world, but we have a decent shot of finishing the month with a winning record. Can we beat Washington? No, we can't. Can we beat Dallas? Yes, we can. So, hey, winning record. Third in the division. The Bruins are 10-0, so that's fun and not at all problematic. That we could be yet again stuck in a very competitive division. That's what sucks, though, at this point, man. It's not that the regular season's irrelevant. It's just that I have such tunnel vision on the playoffs at this point. How could I not? So, it's not that I'm overlooking the regular season, but I'm just so anxious to see how this plays out. I'm anxious to see how this team does, how the individual players do, and what the playoff scenario is. Whether or not we're a high seed on the road or not in the playoffs at all. It sucks having to wait to find out. No, that's not a shot, by the way, at how fast or slow the sim speed is, although we all know it's not the fastest sim speed in the world. We are hanging in there towards the top of the Atlantic as we arrive. It's the 1st of December, and we are atop the Atlantic Division. 1 point clear of Montreal, with Vyacheslav Grigorenko leading the way, 28 points in 23 games. Brody Appleby continues to be an assist machine. Greg with the 16 goals, and Alex Holtz doing well, which is what we need him to do. Nazir Kostopoulos on 20 points. Paul Cato hasn't done much he's been okay from an offensive standpoint, but he's at least not a defensive detriment. And overall, I can't complain about any of those point totals. The offense is doing what the offense should be doing. Cody Montgomery and Zane Trafford, very happy with the numbers that I'm seeing. No complaints. And in goaltending, okay, I might have a complaint there. Dominic Grosek has not been good. Philippi Dag, again, has been tremendous in the regular season, which isn't surprising to me in the slightest. Although, does that mean I would trust him in the playoffs again? I don't know. Now, some people were asking, by the way, as far as the scoring setting. Again, I'm pretty sure it's still on medium. It is still on medium. I mean, you have to wonder how bad would our goaltending be if it was on high. You have to wonder, too, how much would that benefit the team? Because we're such an offensive team, if you add that extra factor into the mix, that the offense is going to be even better, in theory, that might be just what we need. Although I highly doubt it. Hell, you can make the same argument that lower scoring would benefit us as well, just because we are such an offensive-oriented team that we might still be able to score more goals than everybody else. But, yeah, it's on medium. At the end of the day, though, I don't know how much it truly affects us as far as what the scoring's set to. Again, if we were to have icing and offsides off like we did last year, that was the good artificial way to bump up the scoring. Still works, by the way. I don't know how much that would help us, if anything. It's just whether or not we're going to be able to get that RNG luck. Now, we do have 2 shutouts in 8 days. And then we give up 5 goals to the Leafs and lose 3-2. So, a little bit shaky through December as we get our 22nd win of the season. We have a back-to-back as we head into the new year, 2033. Here we come, and it's off the back of 3 straight victories. No, never mind, make it 4 because we beat the Penguins. So 24, 9-4. We are still atop the division. We have the tiebreaker on Montreal. Greg is killing it. He has 37 games, 27 goals. Not quite David Pastrnak levels, but relatively close. Appleby is still a dish machine. Oh my God. And Holtz is having a very good season as well. I'm not seeing any point totals here that I'm upset with. And Nazarov has to be, really affecting the output from Richie and Samard. I can't complain. If anything, it's just the goaltending. And it's Grosek who's continuing to struggle. Because it doesn't matter if we have a 78 overall goalie or an 87 or a 92, our goaltending struggles. Well, that's because you have only offensive defensemen. Sure, but then explain Daig's save percentage. Explain Daig's. I mean, if both goalies were struggling, then I'd resign to that theory a little bit easier than, a little bit easier rather than being a tad bit skeptical of it. Because we have continually seen some of our goalies perform. Typically, though, it's the backups who still get a ton of games because our starter gets pulled so often. It's just bizarre. It really is. But right now, we're halfway through the season. We are just outside of first. I was going to say we were in first prior to that game, or at least heading into the day of that game against the Florida Panthers. But we are neck and neck with Montreal. We'll be playing them a couple of times down the stretch this season as well, and those will be very important games, to say the least, as we continue to win. It's been 4 straight, make it 5 as we explode for 9 goals against the Islanders. We have 2 games left this month. We beat the LA Kings on the road, and we host the Colorado Avalanche. That is our first loss in a while. So 33-11-5, still atop the Atlantic Division. 1 point clear of Montreal. That is a race and a half. It's crazy that the Bruins were 10-0, and now they're in third in this division. And again, lineup-wise, Appleby is insane. Grigorenko has 37 goals. If you disappear on me in the playoffs again, man. That stat line right there. He was good last year. I can't fault him. It's just, damn. I mean, he has 344 goals in 705 games. It's not, I can't even say that's not overly ridiculous. It's a pretty damn respectable total. It really is. What's the goaltending looking like? Grosek's battling. Daig's numbers are regressing a little bit. Still in first, though. No reason to contemplate making any changes. We're going for it. And I know, I'm a little bit more hesitant at this point. We're in first, right? We are in first. It's fine. Call it the equivalent of us being up 3-1. Yeah, if we lose Game 5 in the playoffs, yeah, maybe I make a slight change. But for now, we keep running with it. We still have 30 games to go this season. We lose a very important game to the Habs. That'll probably see them back in the first, and indeed they are, especially after we lost to the Blackhawks. We absolutely crush Columbus, so we have shown the ability, and you see that game against Anaheim as well to begin the month. We have, as you would expect, with the way the team's built, the ability to outscore any team on any given night. Whether or not we live up to that, who's to say? I mean, we have lost, 5 out of our last 6 games, so February hasn't been all that kind to us as we lose to the Rangers as well. Talk about not making lineup changes. Now all of a sudden we cannot win hockey games. We beat Detroit, though. The Habs are 5 points clear. This was not the time. There was never a good time, but this was especially not the time to start slipping up, as we're looking for our 40th win of the season, and we did indeed get it. Did we? Was that 40? It wasn't. We'll be looking for our 40th win of the season against the Leafs to begin March, as we are 3 points back of Montreal with 20 games to go. 1 point clear of the Leafs with a game at hand. So it is a very close division at the top. 49 goals already for Grigorenko, which is insanity. He and Brody Appleby have worked out so well together. And then if you have Alex Holtz performing like that, there are no complaints. All 3 members of the second line have scored at least 20 goals. I mean, the offensive firepower It's there. It is absolutely there. It's just, can we get the stop? And again, I know everyone's an offensive defenseman here, but you can see these numbers. I mean, we're not struggling that much defensively. I mean, yeah, we're scoring a lot of goals, but everything's looking good. So I don't even know how much stock I put into that theory either. And I'm not taking a shot at the people who are like, oh, well, you have offensive defensemen, so obviously you're going to struggle defensively and your goalies are going to give up a ton of goals. I don't know. You see how this team performs in the regular season, and it really, I don't know, at least puts the doubt in my mind over whether or not that is indeed the answer. Time will tell, though. We have 42 wins. We lose in a shootout 7-6. Jesus Christ. But we are hanging in there with Montreal. I imagine we'll be playing them in April. Didn't take a look. We have had some really high-scoring games here. But we are back atop the division. Under 10 games left this season. We should be hitting the 50-win mark, no problem. March has been a very kind month to us. We do not play the Habs again this season. So with 5 games left, we are 2 points clear. We're already back in the playoffs, which is tremendous. I mean, this team, over the past few seasons, has done very, very well in the regular season. I'm not shocked. I mean, I believe Chan has been our coach for the majority of the past few seasons, has he not? And if we go back over and look at his full career stats, I mean, yeah, he's been the coach here for 5 years. Look at this. I mean, this is going to be his third 50-win season since he's taken over here. It's pretty ridiculous. 2-time Stanley Cup winner, obviously not when he was here. So with that, let's see what happens. We take on an Islanders team that is probably fighting, and indeed they are fighting. They're in a wild card spot right now. They're fighting to make the playoffs. Tough win, but we get it for our 50th win of the season. And we'll see if the Habs are able to keep pace. We are 2 points clear with 4 games left. We are in control of our destiny here. We take on a good Kings squad. Can we get the win on the road? 6-1. Oh, this offense right now. And with that, 3 points clear with 3 games left. Can we beat an Avalanche squad that is currently in a playoff spot? They are postseason bound. Can we get another win? We can't. We lose 4-1. The Habs are 3 points back. 1 win in one of these final 2 games, and we have clinched the division title. Absolutely insane. Can we get it done against New Jersey? They have 48 wins. We get the win. We are the top team in the Eastern Conference. If we win and the Sharks lose, we just won the President's Trophy. We beat Vegas, but unfortunately we finished 1 point behind the Sharks. Go figure that these 2 teams are successful in the regular season. Will playoff success happen as a result? Who knows? We are the best team in the East. The Beasts in the East. Unbelievable. 53-win season. We will be taking on the New York Rangers in the first round. Oh, God, can we make it out of the first round? Please, please, please. Please, 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 please. So, there you see it. We averaged 3.98 goals for per game. We have the league's best offense. The goaltending is where it slips up a little bit, but it's mid-table at, what was it, a 2.91, if I'm not mistaken? Indeed it is. That's not a horrific number. Our power play is at 24.6%, 6th best in the league. Our penalty kill at 80% on the dot, which is mid-table, but closer to the top. Defensively and goaltending-wise, this team has proved it again in the regular season. There's no excuse come playoff time. There isn't. This team is defensively solid enough and stable enough in goal to win a Stanley Cup. They are. You can talk about the makeup of the team, the player type, whatever. This team is good enough to win. We just haven't had RN Jesus grace us with his golden blessings of actually winning a damn playoff series or winning playoff series consistently. 4 in a row, ideally. That's what it comes down to, man. We just haven't had the luck. And I'm scared that we won't again in the playoffs because I have no reason to believe that we will. There has been the talk of you should calendar sim unless it's an elimination game, but obviously it's not as interesting. But you look at what this team did. 59 goals for Vyacheslav Grigorenko. First time he broke 50, he nearly hit 60. I mean, if he can do this, I mean, again, for a goal, he's Jeff Skinner. Like, that's what he is. He's Jeff Skinner. The point totals might not be absolutely outrageous. He's going to put up goals. He had 18 goals on the power play this season, 10 game-winning goals. But if he disappears in the playoffs, we're screwed. He plays the body. He gets a ton of takeaways, so he's defensively responsible. We just can't have him disappear in the playoffs. Alex Holtz, another guy who I was tempted to get rid of, had a good season. That doesn't surprise me. It's just, what the hell are you going to do in the playoffs? Because we've seen it. I mean, I hate to say it, but I mean, he has 5 goals in 23 career playoff games. That's not good enough for someone of his talents. 16 points in 23 is okay. It's respectable for sure, but 5 goals? I don't know, man. I mean, I know he's more of an assist. He's more of a playmaker than a goal scorer, but still. And speaking of playmakers, Brody goddamn Appleby. 574 games, 52 goals, 424 assists. What a bizarre player. Nasir Kostopoulos, 78 points, 32 goals. Thankfully, a medium elite prospect that's actually turned into something. Because again, that first season we played him, it wasn't looking good. We play him down in the AHL. Last year he looked really good, and then this year he looks like the player you would hope he would be. He is a former 6th round pick. Steal and a half. And obviously we've struggled to get steals. And just in general, I find it more difficult to get steals in the draft. The quality is a bit shaky at times. Joakim Kamel scored 31 goals. Cato with 50 points on the second line. I don't hate it. Nazarov was solid. Again, I have no complaints with anybody as far as point totals are concerned. This offense is tremendous. We only had 2 forwards with under 10 goals. Under 11, technically, this year. And one of them's Appleby, and he put up 79 goddamn assists. And the other is Kavanagh, who had 9 goals, still had 31 points on the 4th line. I'm sorry. I'll warn you now. Yeah, I'm going to be angry, and I'm going to be pretty damn depressed and upset if this team loses again. It's going to be a heartbreaker if this team falls. Joel Stamkos scored 20 goals. He's still a fucking 78, though. He won't go up in overall. It sucks. Because these potentials are fucking broken. But even then, you look at what this team was able to do this season. The question is, who the hell starts in goal? You probably give it to Grosek with him being the higher rated, but Philippi Daig was really good in the regular season again. It comes down to who gives us the best opportunity. And yes, I will look at Connor McDavid's career stats right now. It comes down to who we think gives us the best opportunity to win. And I mean, obviously, I don't really expect to change much with this team. I mean, if we're struggling throughout the course of that series, then yeah, I'm going to be tempted to change things up a little bit. Vyacheslav Grigorenko just led the league in goals, for God's sakes. This... I want to so badly say this has to be our year. It doesn't have to be our year, but God damn it. Don't I want it to be our year? I really, really do. Man. We need it to be our year. We really do. Cyrus Astles. I remember the New York Rangers. Always interesting to see an old face there. I mean, anything over a 9-10 can be viewed in a very positive light for goaltenders, even though this is on medium scoring. Good old Dylan Kramer. Hell of a name. Guys, that's going to do it for this one. And I'll take the next day or two to mentally prepare, because I'm going to need to. This team has such an amazing opportunity, and I just hope it doesn't go to waste.